If he hadn't stopped that day, everything would have stayed the same. The debts, the empty fridge, the broken dreams. But one small act of kindness, a wrench in hand, a leaking water tank, and a woman who seemed just as poor as he was, changed everything forever. Jake Reynolds wiped the grease off his hands with the rag he kept tucked in his back pocket. His garage had been dying for months, barely scraping by, and today, after a long and painful morning, fixing a broken-down truck for half of what he was owed, he was driving back home, tired and frustrated. The late afternoon sun beat down on the old, cracked road winding through the farmlands. His old pickup truck rattled with every pothole. As he slowed down to take a curve, he noticed a woman standing by a battered wooden gate, waving frantically. Something inside Jake told him to keep driving. He had problems of his own, but he hit the brakes anyway. The woman ran up to the truck, breathless. Her clothes were simple and faded, her hands rough with work. "Sir, I'm sorry to trouble you. My water tank. It's leaking badly. I don't know who else to ask. Can you help?" Jake sighed inwardly. He had a full day already. No money, no patience left. But when he looked at her face lined with worry, but still kind and hopeful, he could not say no. He asked, cutting the engine. She smiled in relief and led him down a narrow dirt path to a small wooden house that looked like it had seen better days decades ago. Behind it stood a rusted, elevated water tank, water trickling steadily from a crack along its side. Jake studied it. The fix wasn't complicated, but he knew she'd need a proper sealant, a welding torch maybe, tools he carried in his truck, tools he'd bought on credit. He still didn't know what he was going to do with it, but he knew he'd have to pay for it. "I can patch it up for you," Jake said, rolling up his sleeves. "It won't be perfect, but it'll hold for a while." The woman nodded gratefully. Thank you so much. She hesitated, twisting her hands together. "I don't have much to pay you. Maybe a few dollars or a jar of jam I made." Jake gave a tired smile. "Don't worry about it, just happy to help." As he worked, he noticed the woman disappearing into the house and returning with a dusty jar filled with rich, dark blueberry jam. She set it gently on a crate near him. "My mama's recipe," she said. "Best you'll ever taste." Jake finished the patch, wiped his brow, and stood back, admiring his work. He refused the few crumpled dollars she tried to offer him, took the jar of jam with a polite smile, and waved goodbye. It should have ended there, just another good deed done, a small moment, forgotten by morning. But fate had bigger plans. Later that night, Jake sat at his small kitchen table, spooning the jam onto a piece of stale bread. The flavor exploded in his mouth, rich, sweet, and perfectly tart. It was, hands down, the best thing he had tasted in months. He had been eating jam for a long time. He had been eating jam for a long time. He had been eating jam for a long time. He had been eating jam for a long time. He stared at the jar, puzzled. He couldn't help but wonder, how could someone living in such poverty create something so perfect? The next morning, Jake's phone rang. He almost didn't answer it, but something made him pick up. "Is this Jake Reynolds?" "Yeah," he said cautiously. "This is Charlotte Hayes. I believe you helped me yesterday." Jake sat up straighter. "Oh, yes, ma'am. Is everything all right with the tank?" "More than all right," she said, her voice warm. "Listen, I've been thinking you're good with your hands. I have a farm. It's a bit of a mess. Honestly, I could use someone handy around. Would you consider stopping by today?" Jake hesitated. Another job was the last thing he had time for, but his curiosity gnawed at him. "All right," he agreed. "I'll swing by this afternoon." When he arrived, he almost drove past it. The dirt path beyond her modest house opened up into a breathtaking expanse, row after row of lush blueberry bushes stretching farther than the eye could see. Jake blinked, stunned. "I thought," he started, but Charlotte laughed, a rich, genuine sound. "You thought I was poor?" she finished for him, her eyes twinkling. "I don't blame you. I live simply by choice. Money doesn't mean much when you've lost the people you love." Jake listened as she told her story. Charlotte had inherited the farm after her parents' deaths, but grief had paralyzed her. The workers left the land once thriving, began to wither. She had lived alone, trying to hold on to the last memories she had, letting the property fall into near ruin around her until yesterday. when Jake's small act of kindness reminded her that not all was lost. "I think it's time to rebuild," she said quietly. "And I need help, would you?"